皆さんおはようございます. Thank you for joining me today. We have a little bit of a special video today. So because today is the Coming of Age Day in Japan, which is a national holiday, there is no NHK News article today, but I had a little bit of time, or I made a little bit of time, and I figured we would do an Asahi Easy News article for the very first time. And they just so happen to have one about Coming of Age Day in Japan, which is called Seijin no Hi. So, they don't really have a title here. The title is very simple, but it is Seijin no Hi o shoukai shimasu. So they're just going to introduce and tell us a little bit more about Seijin no Hi. So Seijin is an adult. This is like a legal age. When you're 20, you become an adult legally. So that's Seijin no Hi. So Hi here is day. And then o shoukai shimasu. So shoukai suru is to introduce something to someone or tell them about something they don't know. So today we'll be going over this Asahi News article. Unfortunately, the audio that they have along with this article is AI generated, so it actually makes a few mistakes even in this small little article, which is unfortunate. But I still figured it would be good and kind of fun to go over this and explain a little bit more about what Coming of Age Day Seiji no Hi is in Japan and kind of what cultural relevance that has. So we have a very large vocabulary list today, so bear with me as we go through that, and then we will get into our article and start talking about Seijin no Hi. Alright, because this is a bigger article and it's a bit more complex, we have quite a few vocabulary words. We actually have 2 pages of vocabulary today, so let's get through them real quick. So first we have seijin, which is an adult. Now this is like a legal term, adult, literally a person who has become an adult. So in Japan, that is the age of 20 and older, so that'd be seijin. We have shukujitsu. Shukujitsu is a national holiday. And then we have dai, which will have a number come after it, and this is an ordinal number. So if we put dai ni, that's going to be second, dai san, third, dai yon, fourth, etc., etc. And we have otona. Now this is an adult. It's not a legal term. This would be a grown-up, an adult, just someone who you consider to be more of an adult person. We have imi, which is meaning. Iwau, which is to celebrate something. Seichou or seichou suru. So seichou is growth, and seichou suru is for something to grow. And then negau, this is to desire or to pray for something. This is the word that we use in onegai shimasu. Negau is put in a certain grammar to make it onegai shimasu. It's a humble form of making that request. Then we have horitsu, which is a law. Seijika, which is a politician. And senkyo, which is election. All right, and then number 2 here, our second list here, we have sanka and sanka suru. So sanka is participation, sanka suru is to participate. Keiyaku is a contract. Sekinin is responsibility. Kenko is health. Eikyo and eikyo suru is an effect or to have an effect or to affect something. Shichouson is cities, towns, and villages. So different places in Japan, they will end with this shi or this cho or this son. Some cities or villages will be called cho, some will be called son or mura, some will be called shi. And this collectively, this is how we collectively refer to all of them, kind of like municipalities, right? So cities, towns, and villages are different, but when we talk about all of them at the same time, we can use this word shichouson. Okay, then we have hatachi. And hatachi is 20 years of age, so you'll notice it's just 20sai. However, this 20 years of age has a special way of saying it because it's considered to be a special year. And actually, they do have ways to say every 10 years there's a special way to say like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. However, the most common one that is used all the time is this hatachi, because it's when you're considered to be an adult in Japan. So it's particularly a special age, so they have a special way of calling it, hatachi. Okay. Then we have ski. So you can add this after another noun, attach it to another noun to mean a blank ceremony. So the one we're talking about today is a seijin shiki, the coming of age ceremony. And we have shichou, which is a mayor of a city. Furisode, which is a furisode, or a long-sleeved kimono, particularly worn by young girls. What an older woman would wear is not considered to be a furisode. Furisode are very extravagant, very colorful, very fancy, whereas older women, they would normally wear more of a traditional kimono, like darker colors. They can be a little fancy as well, but the traditional idea is when you're younger, you can be more extravagant, exciting, that kind of stuff. And as you get older, you wear more solid colors, more traditional colors and things like that. So furisode is particularly what young women would wear, particularly on the coming of age ceremony day. And then we have yorokobi, which is joy or happiness. Okay, so here is our grammar point for the day. We have something youになる. So youになる, what comes before that is a verb. Can be either negative or in the dictionary form. And this means to become so that or reach a point that blank. We've seen naru in other grammars. Naru obviously just means to become. Naru is used in lots of grammars to indicate that something is changing from one state to another. So here, we're changing from one state to another with a verb. And this verb is very commonly found in the potential form, so being able to do something, as the ability to do something is a change that is very oftenly talked about. So with some examples here, we have 恥ずかしいことに泳げるようになったのは15歳の夏だった。夏だった。Right, I said 出会った but だった。So 恥ずかしいことに, this is a way you can say it's how embarrassing or it's embarrassing to admit. 泳げるようになった. So we have the naru. Obviously that naru can then be conjugated and put into all sorts of other grammars, but here we have 泳げるようになる. So 泳げる is to be able to swim, comes from the verb 泳ぐ, and then that goes to the potential form 泳げる. So 泳げるようになる, to become so that you're able to swim. The translation here just says I learned to swim, because that's how we would say it in English, but in Japanese they'd focus on that change from not being able to being able to. So 泳げるようになったのは, so the thing or the time when I became able to swim, は, that's our main topic, 15歳の夏だった. So 15歳, 15 years old, の夏. So the summer when I was 15 years old, and then だった was. So the embarrassingly enough, or it's embarrassing to admit, the time when I became able to swim was the summer when I was 15. Okay. Then we have 日本語が大好きですが、漢字が書けるようにならなくてもいいと思っています。So, 日本語が大好きです is how we say I love Japanese. And then this が is our however or but. 漢字が書ける. So, 漢字 is kanji. And then 書ける would be the potential form of 書く to write. So, be able to write here. 漢字が書けるようになる would be to become so that you are able to write. And then we have this conjugated into the negative connected to the temoi. So negative temoi means you don't have to do something. Temoi in the affirmative would be able to do something or may do something. It's okay if you do something. This is it's okay if you don't do something. So ならなくてもいい would be it's okay if you don't become so that you're able to do this, or you don't have to get to that point. You don't have to reach the point where you are able to do this. So 漢字が書けるようにならなくてもいい. You don't have to be able to write kanji と思っています. So と思っています. This と kind of quotes all of this. This is what I think. So I think I don't ever need to be able to write kanji. I don't think that's necessary for me. Okay. Then our final sentence here we have 有効期限が切れたら完全に使えないようになるので気をつけてください. So 有効期限 is a noun meaning expiration date. が is going to do something. 切れたら so 切れる is for something to pass, also for something to snap or be cut. So 切れたら and then たら is an if or when. So here once the expiration date has passed or been cut, right? 完全に使えない so 完全に使えない completely unusable. So 使う is the verb to use. 使える would be the potential form of that. And then 使えない would be unable to use. And 完全に is just completely or literally perfectly, but completely. So 完全に使えない completely unusable. ようになる so it will become so that it's completely unusable. Once again, focusing on that change. It's usable. Now it's completely unusable. ので and then the ので is a because. So because it will be completely unusable. 気をつけてください. So 気をつける is to take caution, be careful of, take note. So here, be careful. And then that's the ください. So please be careful. So in the English sentence, that'd probably be more natural at the start. So be careful, because once the expiration date has passed, it will become completely unusable. 有効期限が切れたら完全に使えないようになるので気をつけてください.
成人の日は日本の祝日の一つです。毎年1月の第2月曜日です。2026年の成人の日は1月12日月曜日です。成人は大人の意味です。成人の日は大人になったことを祝ってこれからの成長を願う日です。日本の法律では18歳になると大人です。政治家を選ぶ選挙に参加することができるようになります。また、部屋を借りたり、車などの大きな買い物をするときの契約も自分の責任でできるようになります。お酒やタバコなど健康に影響があることは20歳になるまでしてはいけません。多くの市町村が成人の日にイベントをします。成人式や20歳の集いという式をします。20歳になる人たちが参加します。市長の話を聞いたり、昔の友達と会ったりします。女性は振袖という着物を着る人も多いです。成人の日は大人になる喜びと大人になった責任を考える大切な日です。
Okay, so we have quite an article to get through today, so let's get started.
成人の日は日本の祝日の一つです。
Okay, so we have 成人の日は so 成人の日 adult day or day when you become an adult. 成人の日は It's our main topic. 日本の祝日 So 祝日 being a national holiday of Japan 日本の祝日の一つです So if we want to say one of something, we will have the number at the end. So 成人の日は日本の祝日の一つです The coming of age day is one of the national holidays in Japan.
毎年1月の第2月曜日です。
Okay. 毎年 so every year 1月 it'd be January 1月の第2月曜日です So this 第 we saw it in our vocabulary it normally comes in front of a number to mean the second So 第2月曜日 would be the second Monday and the second Monday of January every year 毎年1月の第2月曜日です
2026年の成人の日は1月12日月曜日です。
Okay, so 2026年の so 2026, the year 2026, something of it の成人の日は so 成人の日 the coming of age day in 2026は our main idea 1月12日月曜日です。So 1月 January 12日 the 12th and then in parentheses 月曜日 So as we mentioned it's always on a Monday so this year it is on the January 12th Monday
成人は大人の意味です。
Okay. So 成人は so an adult は大人 So 大人 is another word meaning adult This is like your everyday word that you'll use for anyone you consider to be grown up or an adult. Seijin is more of a legal thing. Now, it used to be that legally 20 was the age where you were considered an adult in Japanese law. Now, for most things, it's 18, but because of the tradition of 20 being when you were an adult, they still call Seijin no Hi the 20th. Or once you become 20, you are Seijin and you have Seijin no Hi is when you celebrate it after you become 20, right? So, 大人の意味です So, 意味 would be meaning. So, Seijin, the word Seijin, adult, means adult. So, kind of both translated as adult in English, but this is more a grown-up. And then this is an adult. So, 成人は大人の意味です。
成人の日は大人になったことを祝ってこれからの成長を願う日です。
Okay, so 成人の日は once again coming of age day. It's our main topic. 大人になったこと。So we have a こと here, taking a verb or a phrase here. 大人になったこと。So the thing of becoming an adult. This is naru in the past tense. 大人になったことを祝う。So 祝って。祝う is to celebrate. So, the coming of age day celebrates the fact that you've become an adult. これからの成長 So, これから would be from now going forward. We can connect that to a noun using no. So, これからの成長 成長 would be growth. So, growth going forward. を願う日です。So, 願う is to wish for, to hope for, to pray for, to request, to desire. So, and all of this is modifying our noun he. So, if we show all of this modifying he and make this into a very simple Japanese sentence, 成人の日は日です. So, coming of age day is a day. And what kind of a day is it? It's a day where you celebrate that you've become an adult and that you pray for or wish for or hope for growth going forward.
日本の法律では18歳になると大人です。
Okay. 日本の法律では so 日本の something is being owned by Japan and what's being owned, the 法律 in the law of Japan, では being that in, so in the laws of Japan or on the law of Japan, 18歳になると so 18歳 18 years of age になる to become And then this と being once you become 18. So 18歳になると once you become 18, 大人です. So 大人, adult です. So in the laws of Japan, or in the eyes of the Japanese law, once you become 18, you are an adult.
政治家を選ぶ、選挙に参加することができるようになります。
Okay, so we've got our grammar here at the end. ようになります. There's a couple times we'll see this in the article today. But we have 政治家, which is politicians. 政治家を選ぶ. So 選ぶ is to select or to choose. And 選挙, which is elections. So elections where you choose your politicians. 政治家を選ぶ選挙に参加する. So 参加する is to participate in something, and what you participate in is marked with ni. So participating in elections where you select your politicians. And then this verb する is connected to ことができる. You are able to participate in. And then ようになります. So this is the important part of ようになります. And the reason why ようになります appears a lot in this article is because before you're 18, you can't do this thing. Now that you're 18, you have become, there's been a shift, a change. Now you can do this thing. So, 政治家を選ぶ選挙に参加することができるようになります. Once you're 18 and you become this 大人, you are now able to participate in elections where you select your politicians.
また、部屋を借りたり、車などの大きな買い物をするときの契約も自分の責任でできるようになります。
Okay, this is quite a big sentence, but let's break it down. また and also 部屋を借りたり. So 部屋 is a room, 借りる to borrow or to rent in this case. And then we're using the 借り here. So when we use 借り, we're attached to a verb. This is doing things like, renting a room, or 車などの大きな買い物. So 車 is a car, など, particularly when we attach など to another noun using no. This means something such as something. So 車などの大きな買い物. So 大きな買い物 would be a large 大きな買い物, large purchases or large shopping. In this case, large purchases is probably better. So large purchases such as, and that's what our などの is doing here, such as cars. Large purchases such as buying a car. をするときの, so をするとき would be when you make large purchases such as cars. And then we're still connecting this to another noun here. And this is 契約. So 契約 is contracts. So contracts for when you make large purchases such as cars. も and also contracts for making purchases or large purchases such as cars. 自分の責任で. So 自分 would be oneself. 自分の would be your own. And then 責任 is responsibility. So 自分の責任で would be at one's own responsibility. This is saying what kind of state you're in. So at your own responsibility or by yourself. できるようになります. So できるようになる. Once again, there's a shift. You're not able to do this. Now you're able to do this. So in addition to participating in elections, also you can rent rooms and the like, and contracts for when you make large purchases, such as when buying a car. Or it also becomes possible for you to make or enter into contracts when you make large purchases, such as a car. by yourself or at your own responsibility. So that's the change that's being made. You're able to do that.
お酒やタバコなど健康に影響があることは20歳になるまでしてはいけません。
Okay. お酒やタバコなど. So, ya and nado are also often found together. They both mean things such as. So, お酒 would be alcohol, and tabako would be tobacco. So, things such as alcohol and tobacco, like, or 健康に影響がある. So, 健康 is health, and then 影響 is effect, and then がある would be something that has an effect on or affects. So, here we have 健康に影響がある would be something that affects your health. And then we have こと, so things that affect your health, such as, so in Japanese we're kind of listing the things that are such as before we're saying what they actually do. So things that affect your health, such as alcohol and tobacco. Wa, it's our main topic here. So these kind of things. 20歳になるまで. So 20歳 would be 20 years old. になる to become 20 years old. まで until you become 20 years old. してはいけません. So this is the する in the te form with はいけません. てはいけません is a grammar meaning you're not allowed to. It's prohibited. You should not do it. So things that affect your health, such as alcohol and tobacco, you are not allowed to do until you're 20. So even though 18 is now the official time when you're considered an adult legally in Japan, there are still things like alcohol and cigarettes, tobacco, that you cannot use or cannot do until you become 20.
多くの市町村が成人の日にイベントをします。
多くの市町村が So 多くの is how we say a lot of or many. And then connected to 市町村, cities, towns, and villages. Japan has different ones, but we refer to them collectively as 市町村が they're going to do something. 成人の日に So 成人の日 coming of age day に on that day イベントをします. So イベント would be an event and します to do, right? So many villages, towns, and cities in Japan perform or have events on coming of age day.
成人式や20歳の集いという式をします。
成人式. So we add 式 onto the end of a noun, and that's like the ceremony of this thing. So 成人式 be the coming of age ceremony. や or things like 20歳の集い. So 集い is like a gathering or a meeting. And 20歳, that's that special way of saying 20. So you can say 20歳になる in addition to 20歳になる. But you'll notice that in our article, up to this point, we've been saying 20歳 instead of 20歳. But here, when written in kanji, it's not, I don't want to say it's more common. You can actually read it either way. But here we have 20歳の集い. So the meeting of 20-year-old people, or the gathering of 20-year-olds. という式. So ceremonies called 成人式 or 20歳の集い and other ones. And that's 式 is our ceremony, right? And をします. So they do or perform or have ceremonies called the 成人式 or 20歳の集い or the like.
20歳になる人たちが参加します。
20歳になる人. Looks like I forgot the 歳 here, but that's okay. So 20歳になる人. So we're talking about 人たち. So multiple people, plural people. What kind of people? 20歳になる. People who become 20. が参加します. So 参加 is to participate. So people who will become 20 will participate. 参加します.
市長の話を聞いたり、昔の友達と会ったりします。
So we see some taris here, which we run into earlier. Tari means things like, and we can connect two taris with a shimasu at the end. So tari tari shimasu, do things like this. So in these meetings is the context we're having here. In these meetings, we do what? 主張の話. So 主張 would be the mayor. 主張の話. So 話 can be a speech or a story, either way. So we listen to, oh, and then yes, we have 聞く. Sorry, kind of getting ahead of myself. 聞いたり. So the tari here is always going to be the past tense of the verb plus ri. So 聞く would be 聞いたり. So do things like listening to a speech from the mayor, or 昔の友達. So 昔 would be from a long time ago, connected to 友達 with the particle no here. So 昔の友達 would be old friends. と会ったり. So this is something you do with your old friends. So you use と. And then 会う is to meet or to see, connected or put in this 会ったり form. So this たり form. と会ったりします. So we do things in these meetings. We do things like listening to the mayor's speech or meeting and seeing old friends.
女性は振袖という着物を着る人も多いです。
女性は be women, and that's our main topic here. What do they do or what about them? 振袖 is a 振袖, or as we talked about in the vocabulary, a special kimono for young women. 振袖という着物, or sorry, 着物. I said that really long, but it's kimono. So, kimono called 振袖. So this という is called. So 振袖という着物. A kimono called a 振袖を着る人. So 着る is to wear. And then 人 is our noun here, being modified by all of this. So 振袖という着物を着る人. People who wear kimono called a 振袖も多いです. も多いです. So 多い is a lot. And then is our des here. So when it comes to women, there are a lot of people who also, or there are also a lot of people who wear a kimono called 振袖.
成人の日は大人になる喜びと大人になった責任を考える大切な日です。
Okay, and then we have 成人の日は. So once again, coming of age day is our main topic. 大人になる喜びと, so 大人になる becoming an adult. 喜び is joy of becoming an adult. と and 大人になった責任を考える大切な日です。So 大人になった責任. So all this is describing what kind of 責任 we have, which is responsibility. And it is the responsibility of becoming an adult. 大人になった責任を考える to think about. So thinking about the responsibility of becoming an adult. 大切な日です. So 大切な is important and connected to our noun 日です. So 成人の日は the coming of age day is an important day where we think about 考える the joy of becoming an adult and the responsibility of having become an adult. So 成人の日は大人になる喜びと大人になった責任を考える大切な日です. So yeah, whenever you're trying to break down a Japanese sentence, obviously the more you get used to these, this is going to be the natural flow of Japanese in your mind. But when you're trying to break down sentences, just say like, what's going on here? Just make it as simple as possible. So if we wanted to make this one as simple as possible, we cross out all of this since this is all just modifying our 大切な日. So 成人式 or the 成人の日, the coming of age day, is an important day. 大切な日です. All of this is just describing an important day where this happens, right? So, yeah, when you're analyzing, that can really help you out. So, all right. Thank you so much for being here. This one was quite a bit longer than my usual video, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this. The difficulty was definitely a little bit higher. Some of the vocabulary used, the length of the article, and a lot of the grammar as well. Seems a little bit more difficult than the NHK News, but hopefully you enjoyed it. And yeah, that might be something fun that we can do on national holidays, is kind of break away from the NHK News and maybe talk about the holidays, why they're important in Japan. And who knows, maybe the Asahi News, the Yasashii Asahi News will also have articles about a lot of Japanese holidays that we can go over. Let me know what you thought about this one. And if this is your first time being here, please hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this. We do these every single weekday that is not a Japanese holiday. And I will plan on seeing you tomorrow for the next article. ありがとうございました。また明日。